This is Frontosa Cichlids and more. We're looking at how to have a successful breeding project for your peacocks. Now, the main way to have that is to have, suggestions, get information, so forth from various places. Even from this video, definitely from this video, because I've been doing it for years. I'm not the best, I'm not the worst. But definitely I have some good ideas, and I have some amazing fish that I got from our breeding project, so it could give you some ideas, some suggestions for you to check out, for you to use in your future. The best way, overall, I'm going to give you up front, before even the video really starts, before you even see any fish really, besides the few behind me, is that, hey, you need to stay focused. You need to stay focused. And you also need something else. You need an extra pair of eyes. Extra pair of eyes. And what I mean by that, have some friends tell you, hey, if you're doing okay with your project, what they think, or, if you have a YouTube channel, some of your viewers can give you advice, what they think. Now, don't take every suggestion to heart. Some of them people are just cruel, but some of them give you some really good advice. And I've been giving some real good advice recently. It kind of woke me up. You see how this guy's M&M here, the big orange M&M here, is woke up. He's got his eyes looking really good. Well, someone gave me some suggestions that I had used in the past, and I had stopped using. I was no longer focused. You gotta focus in. Like if your video is not focused, like my first introduction to this video, I said some good things. It came out good. But hey, I was blurry. So don't let your project be blurry. Get focused. Get some feedback. Friends, family, whoever. Your project's gonna go good. Now, I've not maybe get the best suggestions from people at the fish stores, as far as people who work there, but I just happened to talk to some customer who actually got me into breeding African cichlids. I just said, hey, how does this work? How do you breed them? He didn't spend more than 5 minutes, probably less than that. He told me how, your peacocks, they picked up the eggs, it was fertilized, they held them in their mouth, and then you can use a net breeder or a tumbler, and like, bam, I started breeding. My projects began. So let it begin for you, and watch this video and tell me how you think of it. What you think of it. Give me that other set of eyes there. Give me some good suggestions. Tell me what you think. Tell me how you've been doing with your projects. And thanks again for watching this amazing video from Frontosa Cichlids and more. To start off with, you need at least one male that you really want to breed. And about 7 or 8 females. Now, in this aquarium, there's plenty of fish. But some of these are actually developing into males. So it's not like you can just go buy some fish and for sure know that they are females or males. Because a developing male may have a rounded anal fin and just slowly develop into a point where it's a male. It may not show any coloration. So you have to sometimes buy a lot of fish to start with. Now, yes, you could breed a male with one female, but a male is aggressive. The Peacock Cichlid male can be aggressive, and if you only have 1 or 2 females, you have a chance of losing your females. So having 6 to 8 to start off with females is good. And you may have to buy more than that as far as number of fish, just to make sure you have that many females. As in this aquarium, which is an ongoing project, I have to take out the males that are developing, like this one right here. It's a developing male. One in the center of the screen. So I'm going to have to take him out soon. Now right now it may not even challenge the alpha male that I want to breed in this aquarium. But I need to take it out because it can sneak over and breed with a female and it not be the genetics you want it to be. So you're going to have to, if you happen to basically raise those fish, you may be raising the wrong fish. So you want to have one male to be breeding with all your females. That way you know your genetics. You have to trace your genetics. Now all these dragon bloods you see in here, they actually came from Starburst. Which Starburst will come out here in just a second. Right there he is. So they're offspring of Starburst. Now what I want to do is to have the genetics of Starburst in a very strong trait where all the offspring that I have from Starburst end up looking like Starburst. And I thought originally that most of these would look like Starburst. But you may have to wait 6 months to a year to see what they'll turn out to look like. So you have to stay focused and you have to have a lot of patience. Now, if you're not willing to do this, you can have projects where you're just breeding peacocks, but you may not get the best, the best ones you want. You may want to start out doing that. That's kind of how I started. I just wanted to breed fish, and then I took some to my local fish store, and it was fun. But then, sometimes you want to actually get fish looking like certain traits. And here I got Starburst, the main alpha male right here, with like the 3rd generation of an offspring in here. And it took 6 months to get them to where they're really breeding and having a decent number of fry. Yes, they can breed earlier than 6 months, but they may only have 5 to 10 fry. So you really have to take some time and focus on these projects. So a viewer basically kind of gave me some advice, not necessarily on this fish, but kind of repeated what I had actually started to do a year or two ago, and which is the line breed, but it can take several years to do. So I'm back to line breeding Starburst. I did have a separate project where I was trying to develop a Dragonite project, and that's still going, and I'll show you that later in the video. So basically, I'm refocused on what I wanted to do from the start, and that was to have a whole tank full of fish that look like Starburst. So if you have a peacock that you think is amazing, and you want those characteristics to come out in future offspring, then you may have to do some line breeding. It can take several years. It can be an ongoing project. Now, one thing you need to know about having a breeding project, you may not know which ones to cull. Females really don't show off a lot of characteristics, and then the males don't show the coloration for 6 to 8 months, maybe a year, depending on how they develop. Some males develop sooner than others. So you don't really know how your fry is going to turn out. So a lot of people make a mistake and they sell fry that could have been amazing. So think about before you sell your excess fry. Maybe you want to raise them up to full, full growth, full adulthood, full coloration before you start selling them off. And if you get a female that's full size and can have 75 young, that could really jumpstart your breeding project. But if you sell it, it can set you back for months. So I'm going to go ahead and jump off to another aquarium and show you some breeding projects from it. So basically this is Icebreaker. Icebreaker is one of my more famous fish on my channel. I took the advice of a guy named Gary. Gary said, hey, he didn't say it in these words, but he said, get your act together, start line breeding them, which I had, but I stopped. You know, get back to the basics. Start breeding them with past generations so you get more to look like the icebreaker. I had stopped. I'd done about 3 or 4 generations and it didn't look like, it looked similar to the icebreaker, they just weren't close enough. But why give up? You know, my fish is doing good. It has a little scratched eye on one side, but it's healing up. Why not go ahead and keep on with the line breeding? So he said, make sure you get your fish with your past generations, the fish that look more like icebreaker. So I have. I got him in here with an aquarium full of his offspring. This is like the 3rd or 4th generation offspring in here. So if you're line breeding, stay focused. I haven't stayed focused. I did for a while. One thing you want to consider in case you haven't already done your breeding projects is to have at least some room in your aquarium and with a sand substrate where they can do the dance, the spawning dance over there and in the sand somewhere in your aquarium. It's very important. Now, yes, they can mate anywhere and on top of rocks, but it's better for them to be able to pick up the eggs easily off the sand and off the rocks. It just does very well. Also, it's very important that the excess males are gone. You just have one male. I've repeated that before, but if not, they're spending all their time chasing the males away, trying to make sure that they're dominant, coaxing the females. It just works out better. The coloration of the males are so much better if you know, there's only one main male. Now, filtration is important. Also, your tank mates are important. Now, I have a lotion here I've had for about 6 years. And it's possible that it could interfere with the breeding, but not where I'm concerned that all breeding will stop. I don't have to have, you know, 100% breeding successful in this aquarium. But your tank mates are important. You know, basically an all peacock aquarium would be ideal for your breeding setup. Yes, they can get along with some abuna and some, you know, haps, but just still, those other fish can stress the fish, stress your main peacock. Not as much breeding will go on. Your haps can breed with your peacocks, so you don't really want them to mix. You basically want to make sure what you're getting bred is what you want getting bred, and that is your main male peacock with 6 to 8 females. Remember, sand substrate, make sure there's a little area somewhere in your aquarium where they can do the spawning dance. Good flow. Doesn't have to be outrageous, but good flow is good. And as far as water temperature, I used to think that you needed to have it at 82 degrees. But here recently, as long as I'm doing good water changes and good feeding, basically that is the more important than the water temperature. So you can have it at room temperature if your room is normally around 72 degrees. It can be hotter than that. Probably could be a little bit cooler than that. It's not as important. Probably more breeding does go on at 82 degrees. That's what I've experienced. There is more breeding going on, but it can, you know, add up in expense if you have multiple aquariums to heat all those aquariums. So that is another thing to consider. Now we'll go on to the next aquarium, and I'll try to give some more points. Remember, stay focused on what your goal is, and always have people, your friends, your family, your YouTube viewers, whoever, you know, pointing out some ideas and telling you, hey, that fish is a good fish to breed. It would be one that's looking good, and you're doing good with your project. Now, as you glance around this aquarium, you notice that it is an OB aquarium. I want to make sure that you realize that the best way to get the most number of fish is to learn how to strip your fish and put them in tumblers. Now, I've wasted a lot of time and made a lot of homemade tumblers. If you can buy one that you know is good, it's much easier than to making your own. They'll last longer for the long term if you're going to do a project. If you're going to use them over and over again, I would suggest buying one. The best ones that I have used are the cobalt tumblers. They just hold up after continuing use. And this aquarium, you see there is a dragon blood. Well, you can't really tell it's a dragon blood. This is a dragon blood right there. And it's on its stage 2 of the Dragonite Peacock, which is basically a peacock. It's got some black on its face there. It's a dragon blood. I'm trying to get more black in its face. Now, this is what I want to point out for sure on this. This is one of the slowest developing males I've ever had. It's several years old. It's just now getting the point on the back anal fin, developing, fully into a male. It is now going to be the only male in this aquarium, and it's going to be breeding with these OBs. Everything in this aquarium is a female. So this is one where I'm actually mixing the fish, which I have in the past. You have to decide yourself. I'm going to mix fish. You can get some outstanding results. That's how I got Starburst. That's how I got Icebreaker. That's how I got many of my fish that y'all love to watch on my videos. And you never know in any batch what you're going to get. So that is why it's important to raise your fish all the way up to full coloration to make sure you're not giving away or flushing or selling or whatever to a stunner that you didn't really know you had. So remember, select your male carefully, what you want, what you think is desirable for yourself. Also, maybe you want to ask your friends, people that are on YouTube or Facebook, hey, is this a good male? Hey, and you may not have the best looking male, but the offspring, you can, after several generations, or actually several broods, you may get a gem from just an average fish. So if you have an average fish, doesn't mean your breeding projects are doomed, because fish can be expensive. You can't just go out and buy and buy and buy. And a lot of times you see on the internet a picture of a fish, that's not what you get, and you say, well, I've already spent $50, or I got a fish at the fish store and it's $20-something. That's what I'm going to use. Don't worry, your breeding projects are not over. Gems come out every once in a while, and they might come out all the time. So don't give up. Now, a lot of these are 1 in several hundred. Like the Icebreaker, it took about 400 to 500 fish to get Icebreaker. Now, I may have had some that were even better than him, but I made a mistake of selling the fish before they developed. So I had no idea what I had. So be very careful of that. Don't sell your fish until they develop, so you know how your breeding project's going and how you want to do it in the future, so forth. Use sand substrate, do weekly water changes, do a good sinking pellet food, and use a good tumbler. 6 to 8 females at least. A lot of times I do 12. And here, in this aquarium there could be even more. Some of these may be developing males, so I'll have to take those out. Just stay focused and let some of your friends and people out there give you feedback. I hope I took care of the issue that some people had concerns with, and that's staying focused. If I want to have a successful YouTube channel, I got to stay focused on what I'm saying I'm going to do and actually do what I'm saying. And that's what you have to do in your own projects. If you're going to do something, if you're going to do a peacock project, then stay focused, stay with it to the end, and you'll enjoy it. Thanks for watching Frontosa, Cichlids, and more.